And I think it's ironic that Michael Bisping, out of everybody, is the one talking about weight cutting and how they have one job. That's easy for you to say, Michael Bisping. If you weigh in and you're half a pound over, all you got to do is pop your eyeball out. It's an exciting time for fight fans right now. The long wait is over. And it's kind of reminded me of that time around COVID where a lot of people were separating and getting divorces and whatnot, because all of a sudden they had to spend, more than 2 waking hours within each other's parameters. And from what I've been seeing, both from personal experiences from people in my real life and on the forums and in the comment sections, I think more people have separated during this 5-6 week UFC hiatus than during COVID. And I think it's because not all of them, I don't want to make a blanket statement here, but I think a high percentage of fight fans are predisposed to a fight type of mentality, both men and ladies. And I think a lot of these people, without that UFC outlet, have been fighting and talking a lot of them papas at home. And I think it's led to a lot of issues. And the long wait is over. And I thought it was going to be kind of a nice, smooth transition. We're going to ease right back into it. And I've been talking about how that abstinence makes the heart grow fonder. And we would complain when we get a card that we thought was a little bit soft, when maybe they took a week off because there was a holiday or whatever. But I think this 5-6 weeks has made us realize, you know what? We took things for granted. We got to be thankful for what we got. And we're so looking forward to UFC 324. And I don't think we're ever going to take it for granted again. So we've been excited. And then we see some, let me say a name to you. Cameron Smotherman. Does anybody know that name? And if you're some UFC, MMA diehards, you're daily checking the news, you know everything that's happening, then you know exactly who that is. But for most of you, have you ever heard the name Cameron Smotherman? And I don't know if you're just listening to this as you're washing the dishes or if you're actually looking at the screen right now. But in case you didn't notice, every time I say this fool's name, I have to look at my notepad because I had to write down the name Cameron Smotherman. And I don't know if it's Smotherman, like if he's Jewish, or Smotherman, like if he's a superhero. Cameron Smotherman or Smotherman. Do you know who that is? Well, let me tell you the only reason I know his name. Now, I may be exposing myself here a little bit as what you may call a casual, because I know there's some fantasy football types out there, some MMA Rain Man types that know everybody. They know everyone on the main card, on the prelims, on the pre-prelims, on the pre-prelims, on the post-lims. They know everybody. And I got to respect you for that. But the only reason I know the name Cameron Smotherman is because he passed out today. He's a UFC fighter, and he passed out on the stage today in front of the world on live national internet. And the ironic thing is, he made weight. He made the weight. He got on the scale. They took his photos, made the weight, took a few steps off, kissed the stage, passed out. And as we're going into this new Paramount and CBS era, that's the big stamp right now. We've been waiting. There's been a big, long break. People from I'm sure executives have been waiting. All these showrunners, people that have been in the meetings, corner offices, behind closed doors, all this kind of stuff. Lots of hype. So many eyeballs on this thing. This dude kisses the stage. It's like when Katy Perry got off of the Apollo 27 and she came down and started kissing the ground. He did the Katy Perry, just boom, right off the scale. That's going to be so many people's first impression. It's like John McCain status. Back in the day, we Back to the Future. Human cockfighting. This is our big introduction to Paramount and CBS. And in case you didn't know about this, there was 2 other individuals that missed weight. Davison Figueiredo missed weight, and Alex Perez missed weight. And they didn't pass out or anything. But, I mean, just a little bit more fuel to the fire. We got dudes with this ridiculous goal in the first place, cutting weight, which they shouldn't be doing. One of them passing out and two other ones following suit. As far, again, I got to correct myself. They're not following suit. The dude made weight and then he passed out. But now these two dudes didn't make weight. You know what's ironic that I just realized right now on the spot here? The ironic thing is if these two dudes would have, and I say in quotations, tried a little harder and made weight, they probably would have passed out too. So it's a toss-up. What do you want to do here? What's more important? Your reputation with Dana White and the UFC? Your fight purse? Your health? Your life? Because this dude did what he needed to do. He went the extra mile. Literally. He had to do one more mile on the treadmill, and that's what led to all of this. He had to go one more mile. And Davison Figueiredo and Alex Perez said, chale. And I'm going to be honest, I was doing some other stuff. I didn't see this live. I saw the aftermath. I saw people uploading it. So I don't know if they went after this dude. Maybe they were on the treadmill. Maybe they were in them sauna suits when they saw that dude kiss the pavement. They said, chale, I'm going to lose some of my money. And yes, you heard that right. What happens when the UFC takes notice of these weight loss problems? Instead of saying, let's address this, let's nip this in the bud, let's stop this is dangerous, they say, if you do that, we're going to take some of your money. Oh, you better do the right thing, bro. You better step in line. You better go that extra mile. If you miss weight, you're going to lose your fight purse. That's right. They threaten them with money. It's not a matter of safety, of concern or consideration for the fighters. It's a matter of optics. Bro, you made us look stupid. You made us look unprofessional. You made us look bad. You made us look like cavemen. You can't have people passing out up here. And aside from that, again, because that dude made weight, it comes down to contracts and legalities and money and fights being threatened. Because back in the day, at least, there was pay-per-view and numbers and buys at stake. We can't have fights being dropped. And everybody's very much aware of this mentality. Let me read you some of the comments that I saw. And there's plenty of videos from different angles out there. This is just one of them that I saw. And I thought, well, everybody pretty much is aware of the UFC brass consensus. And some of the comments here is quoting Dana. You know, these are pretend, but they could very, very well be real. Somebody said, Dana, listen, the kid didn't want to fight. Someone else says, Dana says, we contacted him to see if he wanted some hydration. He never responded. Which is a play off of the Dustin Gaethje situation where, hey, it was kind of weird because Gaethje and DC, Daniel Cormier, are boys. And they were kind of going back and forth in one of the videos. You guys probably saw by now if you're paying attention. Gaethje was just calling out everybody and then saying, hey, DC and all this, they're lying. We're not getting paid. I'm not getting paid a penny more. DC's like, are we doing this right now? Are you serious? You're going to be weird about this? And DC and Gaethje's like, well, why you lying, bro? Why you throwing us under the bus? This ain't the case and whatever. And so Dana came out on I can't remember the name of the podcast. He came out on some show and he said, we contacted Gaethje to see if he wanted more money and he never responded. So he's implying that Gaethje saw some kind of message or email and was like, more money? Nah, I'm not into that. As if there weren't some kind of clause. As if there weren't some kind of catch. He's probably trying to get Gaethje to make some special appearances on Dana White's new favorite thing. He's probably trying to get Gaethje to make some cameos in Landman or something like that. He's like, if you want some more money, you got to put on that cowboy hat. You got to come on, like, I don't even know What's the new CBS shows? You gotta come on that new. What are they? Are they still doing Young Sheldon? I don't know. I don't watch TV anymore. Dana White, if he could mumble, he could rumble. Dana White, the kid faked the injury. He's gonna have to work his way back up the rankings, just like our Sarukian. Just like he's trying to do with our Sarukian. Is this what he wanted, by the way? Is this what we would have seen? Our Sarukian had an injury. He had an injury that, again, I feel like everybody, and I guess I feel like different people will try to act like they know. But it seems like he had some kind, from what I could put together, he had a back injury which wouldn't have allowed him to continue the process to make weight. So it wasn't just that he didn't make weight. It wasn't that he was out at Hometown Buffet and couldn't make weight. That's like if some dude breaks both his legs and his neck, and of course he can't cut any more weight, and Dana's like, nah, he didn't want it. He didn't want it enough. He had an injury, which got in the way of him cutting weight, is what my understanding is. What should he have done? Should he have pushed through and ended up kissing stage like this dude? And then hurting his back even more once he hits the ground? And it's a united front. By the way, let me reiterate, in case you don't hear me all the time when I talk about it on the live streams, which I do Monday through Saturday, every single Monday through Saturday, I always say how ridiculous weight classes are. The moment you get into weight classes, it ain't a fight. And all of you, man, I've been seeing comments. It's so frustrating. I released a video yesterday about how Gaethje is going to beat Paddy Pimblett. And I can't believe when I see people, oh, he's too big. Paddy's too big. Have you seen his size? He's too big, bro. All of you guys that are saying that, and I know some of you are sick of me giving the same example time and time again. If you were out shopping at TJ Maxx and some dude came up and just elbowed your lady in the face, and he's like 8 inches taller than you, and he weighs like 65 more pounds than you, are you going to go, hey, oh, snap. You know, my wife kind of is annoying, and I feel like she kind of did get in your way. I apologize, sir. I apologize. Can I pay for your socks? Can I pay for... You want a belt too? You want me to get you the Ralph Lauren belt? I apologize, sir. You have a nice day. Keep my card. I don't even need it. I'm gonna make my wife pay for everything. I don't understand these. He's too big. He's so big. What kind of mentality is that for a man to have? I don't get it. But anyway, I firmly believe that's never gonna happen. I don't think the UFC is ever gonna be savage enough to go back to like the early 90s and have open weight classes. I wish they would, but they probably won't. So therefore, it's not real fighting. It's a sport. It's a sport. It's a sport. Referees, water breaks, motivational speeches in the corner, all that kind of stuff. So what I'm saying, at least, since we're not going to be doing real fighting like those savages, like those real men did back in the 90s, before the UFC went mainstream and got ruined and got civilized, okay, let's at least have some kind of understanding that you know what some dude weighs enough ahead of time before the fight that he's got to stay roughly around that weight. So if a dude weighs 185 right now and he's going to fight, if you catch him right now, just like you saw it, if you roll up at his house right now, it's like they do that for drugs, but they need to do that with weight as well. If you roll up on some dude today and he's sitting down watching Days of Our Lives, eating his Twinkies and his hot Cheetos, and he weighs 185, he better weigh 185 when it's time for him to fight in June. If he weighs 185 right now where he's eating his fruit roll-ups and he's drinking his Dr. Pepper, he better weigh that same amount when it's go time. He better not shrink to 145. They got to do that same kind of testing as well, because I've said to people, how come these fighters don't realize that there's no benefit to weight cutting? Because if you weigh a certain amount and this dude weighs a certain amount and you're like, hey, fool, I got a great idea. Let's both weight cut like crazy to the same weight and we'll fight there when we could have been the same weight from the first place anyway. What's the difference? If it's the same thing, you're just dehydrating yourself. And you know what's interesting? We're never, ever, ever, have you ever thought about that? We're never going to see these fighters at their best. It's mind-blowing. We're always going to see them in this state of some form. I know they're supposed to rehydrate, but we're always going to see them in a form. We're never going to see them in their final form. We're always going to see them in a form closer to dehydration, to being tired, to being weaker. They have 24 hours that's nothing. That's like when you have a flu and you lose a bunch of weight and you get weak, and then all of a sudden you can eat a sandwich again and it doesn't hit your body all crazy, and then you come back to life a little bit. But that's not your best, homie. That's what we're getting. That's what we've been paying for on pay-per-view, what you're getting on Paramount. These dudes are never at their best because they're in this mindset, I got to shrink down. And I'm saying, if you're both right here and you're shrinking down here, what the heck is the point? And people will say, oh, because if you try to do that, if you have that mentality of, hey, I'm not going to shrink down because we're all shrinking down, then somebody is going to be the one cutting corners. And while you think that you're staying up at this weight, someone else is going to be trying to get that edge, and they're still going to cut. And it's like, okay, well then that's on them. They could fight dehydrated. They could fight with less brain cells. They could fight with less power. So I've been pushing for that. I just want to reiterate, I constantly say how dumb weight classes are to begin with, but I guess at least if they're going to have them, force them to stay the weight they walk around at. That is absolutely fair. And I guess if you're worried about people trying to get the edge and getting smaller when everyone else has a gentleman's agreement to stay bigger, then test them. Test them. Don't make them pee in a cup. Make them stand on a scale. And what I thought was very interesting is that you could hear Michael Bisping in the back talking about this dude, talking about weight cuts. There's a video. There's a awkward, hard to look at video of a dude. I mean, he looks like he's under some kind of anesthesia. The dude just goes down, and then even when they come to his assistants and kind of sit him up, he's only up for, I don't even know if it's a minute, and then he kind of just slumps back down. He's not even put together enough to sit up. He literally slumps down like he's under some kind of anesthesia, like if they're about to give him an enema. Like the way they lay him on his side, and he just has these lifeless eyes. He's just like catatonic. He's just sitting there. It's hard to look at. And you can hear Michael Bisping, because it's a press thing. They're all sitting around. You could hear Michael Bisping talking about how he has no sympathy for fighters who don't make weight because they had one job. And I think it's ironic that Michael Bisping, out of everybody, is the one talking about weight cutting and how they have one job. That's easy for you to say, Michael Bisping. If you weigh in and you're half a pound over, all you got to do is pop your eyeball out. Expecting one-eyed Michael Bisping to have a clear, objective view of a situation like this is like expecting a dude with one thumb to be fantastic at video games. It doesn't make any sense. But this dude thinks that he's the authority because he's got a YouTube channel. Now, how ridiculous is that?